Hey guys, it's Heather with Mountain State Falconry Supply, and today I would like to show you my red tail tethering setup, and I want to show you how to do it. Okay guys, I've got everything laid out in the falconry room to show you a sample leash setup of how I tether my red tails in the Muse. I will say before we even start, I always tether my red tails. I do not free loft. That is mainly a result of where I live. I live in the woods and there are squirrels everywhere, so a red tail, especially at weight, just beats and bangs around, and it's just not a safe environment for them to be free lofted. I did free loft the first 2 years in the same location that I've got my tethered set up right now. And that area is now just a really expensive storage building because it wasn't safe. I had talon issues with talon stalling. I had primary wing feathers that were tipped where they would bait towards the bars. So it just wasn't a safe environment. So tethering all the way around for me, I know that it's kind of a polarizing subject, but that's what I do. So let me tell you a little bit about what you're going to need to do this tethering setup. First of all, I tether to a ring that's on a post, and that ring slides up and down on the post. So I've just got a ring here that I'm going to do the leash on. And you can tether to whatever. You'll need a lighter. You'll need a pair of wire cutters, which I use to cut zip ties with. You'll also need 8-inch zip ties. I use the Hyper Tough ones from Walmart. They work great. I've actually used really expensive ones before with the stainless steel, the little where you run the things through with the teeth on them, and they have failed on me before. So the cheap ones from Walmart work really good. You will also need 2 number 8 Sampo swivels, and you can get those on our website. We do sell those. You'll need some electrical tape, and then you'll need a quick link and a 7mm wrench, and that is actually our red tail quick connect kit that we sell on our website. The reason that we sell this on our website as just the quick link and the wrench is because you can also use it on different leash setups. You don't have to use it just on this one. The last thing that you'll need is whatever pair of Muse jesses you're going to use. I like braided Muse jesses. The Muse jesses are the ones with the slits, not the little tiny holes. And then you'll also need a jess extender. And I think that's it. So let's put it together. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our leash material. Actually, I don't like how that is. However you've cut it, you take your leash material. I get mine from Memphis Twine and Net, and I like a stiff leash material so it doesn't get tangled. It's not, I don't want something that's like a shoestring. I want something, can you see that, like standing up? I like that. Anyway, take your lighter and you're going to singe the tips of it. Also, when you do this, don't burn yourself. I have a million times. There's a couple of advantages to doing this too. We're going to cover this with electrical tape, so I guess technically you wouldn't have to do this step, but I like to do it because it also makes the end not super smooth, and if by some horrible chance your zip tie would slide down to it, it kind of catches the zip tie and gives you a little extra protection. Okay, we've done that. Now we're going to take this guy. I don't know how close I've got to get. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take our leash material and I'm going to do 2 little loops around. And the reason that I do this is just, again, for added protection. So this is what it's going to look like. All right, now we're going to take 2 of our zip ties. and tighten them as tight as you can. I used to use my teeth, but I'm told that that's very dangerous and not recommended by the American Dental Association. Yeah, tighten her up. I mean, tight, as tight as you can get. You don't want these sliding, okay? You are going to put tape on them, but you don't want them sliding. All right, so this is what we've got. Now you're going to take your zip tie cutters and cut those off as flat as you can. Now, this is still slightly, it's not sharp, but I just like to cover it with electrical tape. It also helps with the weathering part of it so that it doesn't dry out so fast in the sun if you're in the sun. When I'm in the Muse doing it, I pull this tight while I'm wrapping this electrical tape, and that keeps it from twisting. I don't really have a good setup to show you here because this isn't attached to anything. But I wrap all the way down and then all the way up. Now I'm not going to do that just right now, just for the sake of time. But I do two wraps basically. Okay. So this is what the bottom is going to look like that's attached to your barb. Then you're going to cut your leash to length. That depends on your setup. I mean, it's a very, very specific thing. And I've had to change mine a million times depending upon little changes that I make to the tethering. The length of your leash is just super important when you're tethering. It's super important for the safety of your bird. Okay, now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take one of your number 8 swivels, and I don't know if you know this, but there is a top and a bottom when you're using it for falconry. If you do it with the fat end up and your bird poops, the mutes are kind of more protected if you do it with the fat end up. So you're going to put the leash part through the skinny end, just like this. And then you're going to do that little trick again with your 8-inch zip ties. I like to leave a fairly long tag on it because that allows me, if I need to lengthen the leash setup, that allows me to do that without cutting everything off and having to do the whole thing again if I need to lengthen my setup. All right, so 2 more of these zip ties. Sometimes I use 3. Like for this one, I would use 3 because of how long I made the tag. And I do try to line up the little square things. Okay, so once you have this, you're going to cut these again just like the other one. And then you're going to run your electrical tape all the way down and all the way back up. Wasted a little. I do this very neatly and tight when I'm actually doing it for real. Okay, are we still recording? We are. All right, so this is what you have on this end. You have a number 8 swivel on this end, and you just have this attached to the ring on this end. Okay, Jess extender, that's the next part. If you don't know what a Jess extender is, that's fine. I knew what they were, but I didn't know how to use them. And I also didn't know that I needed them in my falconry until this last year. I finally, my bird was looking pretty feather perfect, except for a couple of nicked deck feathers, and it was driving me crazy. And one of my mentors was like, you should try a Jess extender. That's probably going to fix that problem. And sure enough, it did. So here's how a Jess extender works. There's two little loops right here. Sorry if you already know. You're going to attach it through the fat part of this number 8 Sampo swivel. Okay? And you're going to take this little part right here and attach it like that. Can you see that? All right, so this now is ready to go on your bird. This is an old pair of squirrel chaps. I'm just going to do this to show you how this works. So you're going to run your jesses through, and these are muse jesses. For a Jess extender, you have to have muse jesses. You have to have these slits. All right, imagine this is your bird. Here's your Jess extender. You see this little loop here? You're going to slide both of these jesses through, just like this. And now you're going to take this swivel and you're going to slide it through both slits on the jesses. And it's going to go down like this. Now, what a Jess extender does is it gets this metal that can nick your bird's deck feathers. It gets that away, farther away from the tip of their tail. All right, so like here's your bird. You're walking around with your bird like this. And you're ready to hook them up now to the leash. So there is your setup right here. You've got a quick link in the middle. You've got 2 number 8 swivels. Anytime you can do double swivels, it's a good idea. Keeps things from tangling up. And you've got a Jess extender and muse jesses. So this is my leash system. This is how I do it. Any questions, reach out. But this has worked for me. I know everybody does something different. This has worked for me now for a long time, and even better now that I've added the Jess extender to it. So links for all of this will be on the blog post, and looking forward to hearing some feedback on it. All right, good night, guys.